So guys, you're probably watching because you know Game of Thrones and you know Jon Snow, you know the Mother of Dragons, and you know some other characters. You also probably know that the story is totally confusing and there's so many things going on which are weird and crazy and whatever. But what I want to tell here is, or explain, that Jon Snow, who is actually now one of the main characters, he was not in the beginning. He was just a guy who was pushed around and who not many people liked really. And in the beginnings, yeah, you kind of liked him, but he was just nobody. And then it turned out that he became King of the North. But how did he do it? Do you think he wanted to become King of the North? Do you think he was pursuing this whole thing? In my opinion, no. He was just doing his thing, you know, he was following his passion. He wanted to, he was a fighter, he was a knight, he wanted to help his people, he wanted to save lives and other things. And that in the end made him the king, you know? Because people were standing behind him, and of course because he died and came back to life, I would also be scared of him. But yeah, that's just one thing. But the point is that he was really struggling his whole life, and he actually never wanted to be king or never wanted to be a lord or anything else. He just wanted to help people. He was always the first man going into a big war or going into fighting against the undead or the dead or whatever those crazy things are called. And so that's what makes a true leader. And this is actually what Hollywood is giving us. They give us a cool story about a guy who's nobody. He has a struggle, a tough life, then he dies, probably, sometimes yes, sometimes not, and then he awakens back to life and is much stronger, more power and all those crazy things. And that's what people want to see. That's what we like, because we can kind of we can kind of relate to those things, because we want to be like him, or we want to be like the Mother of Dragons, who has 3 dragons. I mean, who wouldn't be or want to be like her? That would be crazy. So as you see, guys, Hollywood is giving us the perfect movies. They're giving us that what we want to see, and we should take advantage of this, because they're telling us how actually life's supposed to be. That we go after what we really want to, that we follow our passion. So Jon Snow followed the whole time his passion. He was just doing what he was good at and what he liked to do. And eventually, in the end, he became King of the North. You know, there's so many people, if you know the story, the TV show, you know there are so many people, so many lords, so many princes and crazy other people who just wanted to be a lord, or they wanted to have a status, they wanted to be someone, they wanted to have power, they wanted to be rich. But they never really managed, or they managed it for a short time and then they were screwed. Something happened. Probably they died, because most of the people in Game of Thrones just die. And that's the point. So those people actually didn't like the stuff behind it. They wanted to be a ruler, but they don't want to take the responsibility. They didn't want to be behind their man in a war, in a fight. They didn't want to stand up and say what they think or what they want. And Jon Snow, for example, he was a kind of guy who was just always doing what he wanted. He was following his passion, either people like it or not. He was not a false man. He was just doing the one thing that he loved the most. And that made him the true king and a true successful person, what we would call it. So as you now see, if you watch more movies or TV shows like this, I mean, I do not recommend you to watch many of them because so many are also nonsense, but you can learn a lot from them. You can see how really true successful people are born and how they go through life. So if you do something, or if you want to become someone, but you do not like the work you have to put in there to become this person, then you should not do it. Because what I always like to say, and what I follow, is you have to like the process. If you do not like the process, if you do not like the way, all the struggles on the way to become, all the struggles from A to B, so you're on A, you want to go to B. If you don't like this whole thing, the road, you just like this, then it's not for you. Then eventually you are made to fail in this way. I mean, these are hard words, but this is the truth. You have to love, you have to like what you're doing. This is the secret to happiness, to success. And then, only then, you will fight you will be able to fight against all your fears and become what you wanted to be. Or like Jon Snow, become the King of the North and die maybe 1 or 2 more times and come back to life and then be even bigger and smarter and crazier. So it's all on you. If you're watching TV shows, if you're watching movies, then learn something out of them.